everyone, welcome to Watercolor Wednesday. I am Bonnie Krebs, creator of Watercolor, the Art Impressions Way. And this week we are starting out with the summer release. So these were all released in July of 2019. And we're going to start working our way through those sets. So 5 brand new sets. We're going to start out with the little shoe set. So we've got 2 of them here that we're going to do. These are so easy. We can get through 2 of these in one video. And actually I'm going to try to spend 2 weeks on each set. There's a lot of information in here, and I want to make sure that I get through these projects and show you all the things that I want to show you for each of these sets. So here is the shoe set. We're going to use these 2 right here, this little baby shoe with the buttons, and this one here. We're going to go through those 2. Also coming up, the mountain set. I love this set. Can't wait to show you this. It's going to be really fun. I'm going to try to take 2 weeks on that one. The Southwest. So this is the desert scene, and I am really excited about this one. I think you're going to love this one, especially if you love going to Arizona as much as I do, or you live there. So fun. This one, the swing set. This is also really fun. Several different ways that you can use this besides the traditional way, and I'm going to try to walk you through some of those projects. For Christmas, our little winter kids. So we've got the little snowman and the little girl hugging him, as well as these 2 little additional little winter kids. So I'm going to work you through those. So for today, this week's project, we're going to work our way through these two little projects, and we're going to need some things besides the basic shoe set. We're going to use Foliage 4, and let me just say that basically all I'm showing you is how to put these little shoes together. You can fill these however you want to. So I'm going to tell you what I used, but feel free to use your vines and flowers and try different color combinations. It changes everything when you do that. So it's really, really fun to do that. So I'm going to use in this one of these little vines, probably this one right here. In the flower set 3, these 2. In the mini flower set, the little tiny dots. I haven't used these in a really long time. I love these little guys. They're so versatile. So I got them out, and I'm going to include them in this one. This too, I love these 2 vines. Haven't used these in a long time. So here they are. But again, remember, you can use whatever vines you have. Everything is going to be interchangeable. So feel free to mix it up and change it up if you want to do that. Okay, so let's start out with this shoe. And I tried a little different combination with this one. It's almost a gold color. I love the blue and the gold. I love that navy combination. And I kind of wanted this to look, you know, antique. And so I did something a little different. Normally I always start with 2 colors, and we're going to do that. I start with the dark brown and the dark blue, and we get a really nice gray, neutral gray tone. But this time I'm going to use the green, and it's going to give me a little more of this gold color. So let's do that. I've got it on my block here, and I'm going to ink it up with the dark brown first. So just ink this whole thing. And I want a little more intense color, so I'm not going to stamp this off. It's amazing how these little things change the image, and when you really start getting into this and doing these little projects, stamping it off or leaving the color on there really makes a big difference as far as how vibrant that color is. So it takes a little practice, but it's really fun to experiment with different things. Okay, so I'm stamping that on my paper. Remember, don't mash the stamp into your paper. I don't know if I say that at every video, but I probably say it at every other video. Don't mash that into your paper. A good, light, even pressure is exactly what we want. Okay, so I'm going to now get my brush and dip it in water and pinch it off. That's always the first step. And even though this is a brand new series with all new sets, we're still using the basic technique. It's all the same. We're going to dip our brush, pinch it off, and we're going to pull the color out of the lines. That's always the first step. And I want you to look at this image so you can see how this flap of the boot, it's buttoned here, and so this is overlapping. And I guess what I really want to show you is make sure you are not pulling the color out by coloring on top of the line. You don't drag your brush over the top of the line. You're actually coming in under, so next to the line, and you can see how that picks up the edge. it actually picks this edge up and makes that look like it's overlapping the top of the boot. And that's what we're looking for. These kinds of things that really change the image and make it look three-dimensional. And that's exactly how we do it. So the heel, this is a contour. So we want to see a lighter area here where the heel is. I don't want to color that in too dark. And then on the side, that's going to be the darkest area. So the side of the boot here, and we're just starting, so we're just getting the basic color out of here. Remember, you always pinch your brush off so you don't get too much color. And see the top of the toe also? This is kind of a dome here. So we want to see that light at the very top. And you can see it's a little different color combination here with the green. Try that. Try experimenting with more colors. You'll be surprised at the color combinations and what you get with that. It's really fun. Okay, so I've left my heel color. I've got darker on the sides, and then over here, I'm just going to pull this color out too. And underneath the little buttons, you know, these are rounded, so these are tiny little contours, so we want to see a highlight on them. Don't color these in solid. They'll be flat. And if you make them too dark, they're going to look like holes. Okay, so we don't want that. I want to see that highlight on here. So you want to bring that color underneath. Drag it down to the bottom. Okay, and you can see we've got a three-dimensional here, three-dimensional image already. Okay, so now I'm going with a warm green. This is number 98. This is a very warm, bright green. It's almost an olive green. And this is going to give us that gold color. So I'm going to take some of this color now, and I'm going to apply it just like I pulled the color out of the line. So I want to see that highlight at the heel and the darker color on the side. So same down here. And I'm just going to pull this out. And remember, applying the color is a process. So you want to wait till that dries, and then you want to do another coat. And you can make this as dark as you want. You just keep applying that color to the boot. Okay, so let's let that dry for a little bit. I'm going to take some of my dark brown, and I'm going to add it to the heel. Just under here, just like this. This is the fun part. Can't mess this up. Just adding color. Go ahead and leave a little highlight on here too. These are also rounded areas, little contoured areas. Just going to give you a little extra dimension if you do that. And I'm going to now take my fine tip. This is my dark blue, my fine tip, and I'm just going to color in this dark part of the heel. And you can see how adding something really, really dark like that just kind of pops things out. Anytime you can go dark, dark to light, light, you're gonna get 3 dimensions. It's just gonna make that come alive. So I'm gonna take this blue again, and I'm going to just make a little tiny dark mark under each of these buttons. And again, the goal is to pop these up. We want them to look like they're buttons and not holes, black holes. Okay, so I'm going to come back now to my color, and I'm going to add a little more color here on the side, and this back in here. Try not to make everything look the same. You know, I know that's kind of ingrained in us since we've been in elementary school to try to color everything the same in the lines, and then we kind of have to unlearn it, you know, as we get older. So kind of resist that urge and let there be highlight and different colors into your image. Okay, so let's go on to the blue now. And this is the dark blue. So this is the 565, one of our colors that we use over and over again. Always start light, always start light. You can always come back in and add more color. So I'm going to leave just a little bit of highlight on the edge, just on the top. Take your time. You're gonna have some of this color bleed in, and that's good. It's just going to add a lot more interest. And then come back in again in here. This is going to be darker. And just kind of take your time. You can pull some of this little blue out here underneath the buttons. just like that. You can take a little of this blue now and kind of put it underneath that heel. You know, the shoe is kind of hanging over that heel a little bit, so we want to see that. And then in here, can also add just a little bit of a shadow. It's so fun to do. And you know, the more that you do this, the more, I feel like the bolder you get, the more confident you get. And you know, these new sets, you know, they all follow the same rules. So I promise I won't throw you under the bus that way. And, you know, come up with something totally different. Everything is going to follow the same rules and you're going to be able to do it. Promise. Okay, so there we go. We've got our little shoe. Now you can add a detail on here. So in my my little sample here, I added some lines in here. That's super easy to do. And I do a lot with a pencil. So take a pencil and just make a little line here where the heel is. So just like that. And actually this would come down here like that if you look at your shoe and how your shoe is made. And then just take a little of this color, the blue, and just make some lines in here. Kind of follow the contour of the boot. Do it light to start and then go back over it again. But it's kind of fun to add a little interest in here. Okay, like that. And we've got our little boot done. One more thing I want to show you, and I'm going to do this first before I add the foliage and everything else in here. If you want to really make this look like a shoe, you need to bring this toe up off the ground. And let me show you how to do that. So I'm going to just take some of this blue. We're going to create a shadow underneath. And really what I want you to do is draw a straight line from the toe all the way over to the heel. So just like this and out just a little bit. See where that heel comes out here? You want to bring that over just so that it's at that point. And then just widen it a little bit. And you can see how that just brings the toe up off the ground. It just, this little thing, this one little trick makes a huge difference to do that. And you can go a little darker under here. Okay, just like that. All right, we've got our little boot. It looks pretty realistic to me. And I'm gonna just add a little color now into the background. So just put a little blue back in here. Don't stress out about this. Never stress out about this part. Just put a little bit on and let it be. Remember to think about your image in a circle. So you don't want to extend this out past that circle or oval. Okay, that looks good. So let's go ahead and just add some vines and foliage in here. I'm just going to use my little Post-it tape. This is my go-to. It works great. And I'm just going to cover the top of this little boot just so that I don't stamp over the top. And I'm just going to ink up my little flowers here. This is the right and left. So I'm going to start out with the right. And I'm using two colors. So I'm using the dark blue and the green. And I'm just going to stamp that a few times here. So 1, 2, 3, maybe. That looks good. And then let's do the one that's going to the right. The right on the stamp, the left on the paper. Let's clarify that. And then color it in the same color combination. So the green. And then put this in here a few times. That looks good. And now I can take this off. You've got little flowers in here. It really doesn't matter what you put in here. Everything is gonna work. So you can change out the colors and make it more fall. Use your imagination and use what you have. So I'm just putting a few little vines in here, and then I'm adding just a little bit more of this. I'm just using the same color green. just to kind of fill this in a little bit. And sometimes simple is best. I'm only using two stamps in here. We've got this elaborate boot going on, so we don't really need a ton in here. You know, and when you got to do it fast, it's simple is good. I like this little vine here, and you can see, because it's not really dense, you're not fighting with the lines on the boot. So that's one of the reasons that I picked it. But you can also leave the edge of the boot off. So if you really want to fill this up with a lot of foliage, just leave the edge off, you know, and then you're not fighting with that. Remember with the long stems, what the rule is: no water on the stem. You want to leave those as is and just soften the bloom. So cute. Get them all, even the light ones in the background. So cute. And then let's come in here with this tiny little guy. Just love this thing. Ink it up. And try to keep it, you know, where it's pretty light. You don't want to stamp it over a lot of color. And you can see I'm using the same blue again. I love these simple compositions. And then just dip your brush and just touch it. Just touch it, just soften it a little bit. And I usually go back in and just add a few more little dots in here. Like so. And then, of course, sign and date. And we are finished with that project. So let's quickly go on to the next one. And that is this little baby boot. This is, I don't know, I say they're all my favorite, but I gotta say, I just love this little thing. And you know, when you're going to a baby shower and you've got to make a card really quick, I'm not kidding, you can make this in 5 minutes, like literally 5 minutes. Okay, so let's see how long this video takes. Okay, so we're gonna start out with that little boot, and we've got a light color going on, so very pastel. We're gonna stamp it off. So we're gonna just use the brown, the dark brown. Ink this up and stamp it off. We don't want too much color in here, so not too dense. So I'm just gonna stamp it off on a scratch piece here and then stamp it onto my watercolor paper very lightly. And that looks pretty good. So we're gonna do the same thing here. We're gonna pull the color out of the line. So drag it out, just like this. Follow it along. Remember the lip. So you wanna pull that color out to the side. And then underneath the buttons. Remember that, underneath the buttons. You wanna always see the buttons on here. And under these lines too. And the little heel. And that's all we have to do. That's the first step done. So let's add some color now. And we're gonna use the warm blue, or you can use the pink or the purple, depending on what shower you're going to or what card you wanna send. I love this blue. This is, by the way, number 526. So I am going to take a little bit of this color. Again, light, always go light first and start where it's the darkest. So that would be on the side. And drag it over to where it's the lightest. Remember, you've got that highlight on the toe, so we want to see that. And then you can always come back in and add a little more color to it. So under here, this is going to be darker. Along the back, of course. And if you see that your color is getting too dark and you want it lighter, just keep pinching your brush off. Just keep doing that. It'll pull the color off of your brush and you'll be able to control it much better. So I'm going to do the same thing here with the little buttons that we did on the other one. Keep them really soft and light. it doesn't take much. Again, try to leave those light areas. It really, really matters. Try not to color everything in solid. I'm just going to take a little of this brown now. This is still the dark brown, and I'm just going to put a little in here on the heel, on the sole, the boot. Let's put a little shadow in here. Don't be afraid to mix your colors. Getting a little bit of this dark blue in here also. Okay, so we've got our little shoe done. That's it. That's all we have to do. Let's add a little color into the background now, and I'm just going to mix these two colors. Just want a little warmer color in the background. And light, very light. And with this, you know, especially if this was a baby card for a shower or a thank you, you want to really keep that light and very subtle. So I picked this little tiny vine here and just these little dots. And I think that, you know, it's better to just keep it really simple. And while we're waiting for this background to dry, let's go ahead and put this shadow in at the bottom. You still want to do that on the bottom of this one too. Just like that. And you can see that kind of just lifts the toe up off the ground. It really, really works. It's so fun. Okay, I think that background's dry, so I'm going to ink my little vine. And just a little bit. You know, it doesn't, you know, you don't have to get this perfect. Just get a little bit in here and keep it really soft. Don't be afraid to drag that color out. Okay, let's go in now with the little flowers. And again, I'm using the same light or warm blue. So this is the same one that we used on the shoe. And I'm going in a circle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just like we do the little filler flowers, the daisies. And maybe just a little bit more down here. And then dip your brush, pinch it off, and just blend. Pull that color out and just keep it really soft. And of course, change it up. Make it pink. Be so cute. And you've got just the cutest little card to send. So fun. I'm just going to take my fine tip now and really darken under these little buttons. And in here, adding a little bit of dark, just, I don't know, it just makes it a little more dramatic. So fun. Okay, we're going to sign and date. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. And I will see you all next week with another brand new project. Thanks for watching.